Well, hello everyone. I wanted to take a few minutes today to officially welcome you back as we begin this weekend, Sunday, July 5th, our third step for our regathering plan as we come back to the sanctuary for worship. Now, we're going to continue to stream live at 11, and that'll remain available through our website for the days to come. We're going to continue to do that for the weeks and months and even years ahead. But this Sunday, July 5th, represents a turning point in our regathering process where we open the doors literally for you to come back and join us. Everything that I show you on the other side of these doors represents one of two things. One, our compliance for direct requirements by the state for gathering, whether we're a theater or having a worship service. There's certain things that we're required to do, and you'll also see our implementation to the best of our ability of best practices from the CDC and the state to adhere to those requirements effectively and safely. So we want to begin this video today just giving you some insight of what to expect and what you're going to see and how we're going to ask you to cooperate with us if you choose to begin the regathering process this week or for the weeks to come. We will be doing this for the foreseeable future, so whether it's this week, next week, or on into August, throughout phase 3, which will be some time, we will have to adhere to these limitations that I'm about to show you. So we appreciate your prayerful and sweet cooperation and understanding for this process. Well, your day for worship begins right here. The double doors on our main parking lot, those are the doors that will be used for entrance for worship. There will be the only doors that are unlocked for Sunday morning. We encourage you to get here no earlier than 10:30, but certainly by about 10 till, so that the seating process can flow evenly and quickly. As you park your car and make your way, you're going to notice that there will be a greeter here, maybe even two, that will actually open the door for you. Now, we know that you're capable of doing that, but one of the things we want to do, and you'll see it further inside, is to make this as a touch-free opportunity to get inside and to join together and worship as we can. And so you'll actually have one of our welcome team greeters open the door for you. They will be masked. You might recognize them anyway. They'll welcome you to worship and say, "Come on in." So, why don't you follow me? Well, once you come inside, you're going to notice a few things that usually aren't here. First of all, we are required to post all of the things related to COVID to keep you safe and healthy. The one thing that we're going to ask that you help us comply with, because it is a mandate, if you approach without a mask or you're not wearing yours, very gently and kindly in a Christian spirit, that outdoor greeter will say, "Please put on your mask." If you forgot yours, don't turn around and go home. We'll have masks for you. And if you need one, be sure to grab one. They're individually wrapped and ready and waiting for you. And we do ask that you wear one the entire time that you are in the facility. That is not a best practice suggestion. That is a part of the requirement. And I'll talk with you a little bit more about that mandate upstairs. We also ask that you keep 6 feet apart. Now, the seating that you'll see in a few minutes is 6 feet apart. I'm going to ask you to adhere to that. But this is 6 feet apart at all times, which means as you come in here or upstairs in the next landing, those are areas where we typically congregate, where we share those hugs and handshakes, we pass the babies, and we chat for a moment. We allow people to join us or even, cut through. We're going to ask you to keep moving, to come in and make your decision up or down. Well, we've made the decision for you. There's nothing else going on in the facility. We do not have our fellowship hour for this foreseeable future. And so worship will take you up. There's one of two ways to do that. One, the elevator. We're going to have someone not attending the elevator, but on each level cleaning the buttons for those who might need to use it. Now, let me take the opportunity to go ahead and say, if you need the elevator for medical reasons, chances are, from the depth of my heart, and I hate to say it this way, but chances are you don't need to be a part of that first wave of regathering. If you need the elevator because you twisted your knee out on your 5K run the morning before and you wanted to come anyway, well then the elevator is available for you. If you do need to use the elevator, it's there. We have it, and it'll be kept clean throughout the morning. But we're asking you, if at all possible, to please use the stairs. And if you do happen to use the elevator, there's no way to keep that 6-foot distance, so we make sure that you either ride it alone or that only other members of your family are with you on that elevator. Again, take the stairs if at all possible. And as you go upstairs, know that you can safely hold onto the handrails. Those are being sanitized. They're sanitized first thing in the morning. We will have another member of our welcome team who has the sole responsibility to move up and down. We might even let that be one of our workout regimens if you're interested. Up and down the stairwell, sanitizing the handrails so that you know that they're safe and clean. So when you come in, keep moving. Please note the signage. Grab a mask if you need one. Elevator, if you have to have it medically, you might want to stay home. If not, it is available or upstairs. Now, let's go upstairs and I'll see you in the foyer. Once you get upstairs to the main level of the sanctuary, I'm going to encourage you to use the hand sanitizer stations that we have. We have them in more than one location, but here's the one for this level. It is touch-free, and you can, after using the handrails, even though you know they're clean, you might want to do that. If you are one of the folks who typically sit in the balcony, if at all possible, we're going to encourage you, just for the sense of gathering and worship, to sit on the main level. Give it a shot. If, however, there's a need for you to sit in the balcony, we know there's some reasons where that is a preference for you. The balcony is available, and everything that you're going to see in the sanctuary, the seating charts and so forth that you see on the main level also apply, and they're marked clearly, and you'll be able to do that. Of course, you can use the elevator or the stairwell, preferably up to the balcony if you need to. Again, encourage you, if you can, stay on the main level. When you get up here, there will be another greeter that will help you and point you the right direction. Again, here is the section where we typically stop and we chat and we talk. That greeter typically stands right here. That person is going to be over here. It's not to clog the doorway, and to do our best to keep the 6-foot distance throughout the morning. And so you will have someone, we have a welcome team member who will actually, old-fashioned usher style, help you find a place to sit, particularly these first few weeks. And so as you come in, again, I hate to put it this way, but keep the line moving. We don't need you to congregate. We need you to go ahead and find your seat. So we'll help you do that, and let's go on into the sanctuary, and I'll show you what to expect. As you make your way into the sanctuary, you're going to find the seating looks a little bit different than perhaps the last time you were here. A few of these things really are self-explanatory, but they might be easy to miss, especially those first few weeks. First of all, every other pew up and down, the same is true in the balcony, is blocked off with the chains. Don't move the chains. Don't lean on the chains. They're not there. They are simply there to let you know these are no seating pews at all. On the pews where we are going to be able to have seating, every other pew, you will notice two things. One, you're going to notice a series of blue tape, and it looks kind of unique by design. They're in different sections. As you go through, you'll notice that one pew will have seating offered, perhaps for a larger family or so forth, in the center. And other pews will have seating on the ends for an individual or maybe for a couple with small children. That's one reason we want to have people help you find a seat, because we want to try to reserve some of the larger sections for families or households. It needs to be in the same household if you're sitting together. So you'll see the chains. Again, be careful with them. They're just there to denote to you that this pew is not available. When you come and you say, I'd like to sit here, we've got a family of 3 or 4, we will take that section. You'll notice the blue tape marks out places where seating is not permitted. Along with that, we've tried to help you by showing you this sign, and you see them throughout the sanctuary, no seating in this area. So be careful with that, but make your way through. And then, of course, the next pew does not have seating. This pew, opposite of that one, has seatings on the end and on that end. Note that if you're seating on the end, you'll be brought in from the appropriate aisle closest to it, and we'll ask you to exit on that appropriate aisle. And I'll tell you more about our dismissal in just a moment. So please just familiarize yourself as you come in. You're probably not going to be able to sit in that familiar pew. If you want to sit on that familiar side, that's perfectly fine, or that general area. But note that that pew may not be available, or a section of that pew may not be available. I can't emphasize any too strongly that each area designated for seating is per household. It is designed for individuals who live under the same roof at the same address. So you're not going to be able to be seated with your friends. People in the same household are able to sit together. Otherwise, you need to be seated 6 feet from the next household. And that, again, is requirement. That is beyond our control. This is just our way and our best practice to make that at least navigable for you. Let me take just a few moments and I'll show you the pulpit area and talk to you a little bit about the service itself. As we begin our worship, you'll notice some things are going to be a little bit different, not just in the way we have to sit together, or not sit together as the case may be, but the way we actually worship and what we're going to be able to do. A couple of things that we so often take for granted, we're not going to be able to do for a while. For example, we're not going to pass the offering plate. Now, I'm going to show you how we leave in just a few moments, and I'll point out to you that there will be several offering plates available. Either as you arrive, there's one on one of the little cadenzas there as you make your way in. If you would like to give your offering at the beginning of the service, keep that in mind. Or on your way out, you can certainly do that as well. We'll continue to have a scripture and an offertory prayer and blessing. We're also going to take the opportunity at that time to let you know how you can give digitally, particularly even those here, but also for those who might be watching online. And so we're not going to pass the offering plate. We're not allowed to pass anything between one another. Which brings me to this Sunday in particular. It's the first Sunday of the month, and we will be having the Lord's Supper together. And we will have already set, when you arrive for worship, if you come on the first Sunday of the month, this month, August, probably even September, on into the weeks and months to come, we're going to use the prepackaged communion supply that has both the bread and the cup. That'll be waiting for you, and you'll receive instructions just like we normally do of when and how to partake. For those of you who might not be joining with us in person, know that we're asking you this week to just gather things from your own pantry, and we'll give you some instructions in an email a little bit later as well. But we're not able to pass communion, whether you come to the table or the old traditional way. That's going to have to be waiting on you, and this Sunday that'll be in play. In addition to that, you'll notice that there are no pencils, the hymnals are gone, the Bibles are gone. Bring your own Bible. The hymnals are gone because even though we do project things, we are not able to do congregational singing. So we're not going to sing together. We will have music, and we're going to continue to increase the kinds of music and the musical features throughout the service as these weeks and months progress. But as far as congregational involvement, that is going to have to be very limited in our singing and even in our spoken involvement. So keep that in mind. You'll notice that in each area there might be one welcome card that you find. If we do have a visitor, we want to give them the opportunity to drop something in the offering plate on the way back. There's one because it's one per household in each seated area, and they'll have opportunity to do that. You also have an opportunity to be instructed how you can do that online as well. So we're not going to do the traditional kind of welcome. We're not going to be able to do the meet and greet moments, of course, nor are we going to sing or pass the offering plate. But we're going to worship joyfully. There's going to be limitations. You're going to be in a new and unfamiliar pew, perhaps. We're not going to be able to do all that we normally do. We've got some limitations that with which we're going to comply. However, I told you we're going to come back safely, and that's what I've been talking about so far, but also return joyfully. What we're doing here, and even though it might seem like going the extra miles, we're doing that for that safety reason. But to return joyfully, you have to bring that with you in your heart. So come ready, prepared to worship, to receive what God wants to say to you. So be patient with us, be patient with yourself, and come with that sweet spirit of humility as we regather. So as we go through the worship, if you've been watching us online, it will pretty much look the same as we've done these last few weeks. Individuals will come up and have a part of the service. They have their own folder. They have their own microphone, for safety's sake. We're going to have wonderful music from time to time, beautiful scriptures, beautiful prayers together, and certainly a time in the Word. But as we do that and we come to a conclusion, you'll be challenged to leave this place taking God's Word wherever He sends you. Which brings me to the part about how we dismiss. You know how you are dismissed sometimes at a wedding or a funeral, pew by pew? One of the things that we can control a little bit easier when people are coming, because people arrive at different times, we're able to bring people in kind of in a paced and moderate way. But when we're all here, we all hear that final amen and say, "You're dismissed." Boom, we clog the aisles typically, or sometimes we hang out and we visit in the sanctuary. We're going to ask that you not do that. One of the ways to help keep the congestion to a minimum or to negate it completely is our desire, and to keep that 6-foot distance, is to actually dismiss you pew by pew. And we're going to have, again, that part of that welcome team do that. So think of it like when you're dismissed at a wedding or a funeral, pew by pew, starting at the back to keep everybody as 6 foot apart as we can. So remember that, and you'll receive instructions on Sunday mornings as we're here about that dismissal. But I just want to give you a heads up on that. That might be one of the most awkward parts of the morning for you. So as we go through the service, we've said amen. I want to tell you how we're actually going to leave safely, and hopefully, depending on your heart, the joy. Let's go. As we're dismissed, again, pew by pew, those of you in this section, and the same is true for the section in the balcony, will be asked very politely to exit out the Main Street doorway. There'll be people assisting you with that if you need. And so these doors, as the other doors, will remain open through the morning. Again, that's part of that touch-free attempt that we have for getting you in and out of worship safely. And so for the organ section of the sanctuary, you'll be asked to come out the side aisle or the middle aisle, depending on which end of the pew you're on, but to make your way out this way. The same is true for those on the other side. You'll make your way out. Now, if for some reason you need that elevator, remember my little caveat, but if you need that elevator, you might want to sit on that piano side, or be sure that your usher who's dismissing you knows that you have that need. But you'll be asked to come out this way, and the doors will be open for you. Again, you have a sanitation station if you feel like you need to do that on the way out. Touch-free, you have an offering plate that's available for you to leave your offering, or maybe a visitor's card. And then you make your way safely. And again, we'll have one of our welcome team members keeping the handrails clean as you make your way out. And that will end your morning. We ask that you not congregate either in the aisleways or in the foyers. We do, even though it's tight, have that tendency to do that on a typical Sunday. But we're asking you, if you want to visit, if you want to chat, make your way around to the parking lot, depending on which side you leave, and visit out there, again, in that 6-foot distance, if you could. But do that outside, and so that we can keep the traffic flow moving. So that's what you're going to experience. I know that it might seem like an inconvenience. I know for some of you it might seem like overkill, and for some of you it may not seem like enough, and you're going to stay home. That is perfectly fine. Know that we'll be able to stream and you'll be able to connect with us online as well. So take a few minutes and prayerfully consider how and when you as a family or you as an individual come back to worship. But the doors will be open beginning this Sunday, July 5th. And hopefully we've shown you that we want you to come back safely and then bring your heart, the joy that you bring and the joy that God wishes to pour out to you as we begin to regather safely and joyfully.